Operate Lloyd Irvin's Mixed Martial Arts Academy in Temple Hills, Maryland.
Hey, this is Dave D, Chief Marketing Officer at GKIC, and welcome to the Ultimate Lead Generation Machine Show with Dan Kennedy. Dan, we've got people investing and joining this program like crazy. I just want to give a shout out to them. We've got John T. from North Royalton, Virginia, Tony B. from, is that Louisiana or Los Angeles? We don't know.
LA,
right, exactly, Lower Alabama. We've got William K. from Florida, Sean B. from Idaho, Augustin from Toronto, Richard B. in Tennessee, and folks just keep coming in. Now, Dan, people are asking about the Info Summit ticket because they're really excited about that. It's a $2,000 value in and of itself.
Correct.
So I said that there's 500 available. That is correct and incorrect because we have 342 people who have already invested in the Ultimate Lead Generation Machine, are now members of the program. So, what is the math on that?
I have no idea.
Okay, well,
342, 500. I don't know.
Very few left.
Yeah, less than 200. 158.
I think it's 150. There you go.
Sorry, I told her I wasn't well rested.
There you go. But she said. But what did she say to you? She said.
Yeah. The makeup said, "Well, you look well rested."
You look well rested, and that's.
So otherwise, I would have been able to do that right away because I'm good at money math. But it's 158.
158 left.
Remaining.
Right, and then that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So. There's a big button right below this video. All you have to do is click that button and you can get your own Ultimate Lead Generation Machine. Now we're going to take some questions from folks out there. And here's a question because we've got so many international viewers. Is this program going to work? This question came from India. Is this program going to work in India? Is it going to work in Australia? Is it going to work in Japan? China? Is it going to work?
I don't even know if it's going to work in Idaho. I mean, look, 90% of this is universal.
Right.
And in some respects, much of it will work better in places where like nobody's ever seen it. So, you know, I have a client, you know him, Chris Cardell.
Right.
And Chris markets information not unlike GKIC's information, as well as internet marketing information exclusively in the UK. Mm-hmm. His direct mail works better there than the same direct mail works here because there's less people doing any of it. So formats are brand new to them. A tear sheet mailing is brand new to them. A magalog mailing is brand new to them. A little booklet mailing is brand new to them. Now on the flip side, lists are harder to get in some of these places. But again, direct mail is just one piece of this entire lead generation machine.
Right.
And what's most important is architecture, is process, is structure, is system, is getting a lead, managing a lead, nurturing a lead, converting a lead. Well, that's universal, right? It wouldn't matter.
Right.
And I mean, we now have, without having had the advantage of everything put in one system for everybody, we have countless members who report success at converting their business to lead generation driven in places that when you hear it, I mean, I've been corresponding with a member of ours in Russia who is doing fabulously well with our kind of marketing in a business, I'm not even going to name it, but I said, I was invited to come speak, and I said, unless Putin's involved, I'm not coming over there and teaching free enterprise and marketing to your 5,000 people. But Yeah, this is
kind of like you and Halbert on the boat.
Kind of like a drifting to Cuba.
Drifting to Cuba.
Yeah, not a good thing. So yeah, this is largely universally applicable.
Right. So, and the other thing I just made a note is, it's also brand new in many niches.
Oh yeah.
So here in the United States,
There's so much bad marketing, first of all. And then there's so much of single reason for response that has no lead generation element to it at all. And there's countless businesses that do not do pure lead generation at all. So in many, many cases and in many, many media, you will not find anybody with the level of sophistication that comes with this machine. If you open up something as simple as Valpak, which everybody gets at home, and so the guys may not know, if you're married, you may never see it, but it's this envelope with coupons in it for this, that, and the other thing, right? And so the coolest thing about Valpak is it has over a 90% open rate, which there's no direct mail on the planet other than that, because everybody knows there's 1 or 2 coupons in it that they're going to want from the pizza guy, the, you know, whatever. So they open and they shuffle. So you got a shot. All right. You will almost never see pure lead generation done in Valpak in any business, any category. And you will rarely see lead generation added as a hybrid. So like I worked with a company about 4 years ago in the window replacement business that heavily uses Valpak. So that's the coupon for, we'll replace all your windows before winter and buy 3, get a 4th free, yada, yada, right? We added lead generation to the coupon, paid to print both sides, which, by the way, most people leave the second side blank, which is really dumb because paper's expensive, ink's cheap. So we paid to print the second side with a pure lead generation offer. So we now took the ROI on his $400 to $500.
Return on investment.
Right, return on investment. On his $400 to $500 expense for a given Valpak drop to 10,000 homes. All right. We took it from 2 to 1 to 18 to 1. Now,
just from adding the lead generation on the back.
Yeah, now the 18 to 1, to be fair, is spread over 8 months.
Oh.
Okay, but it's still 18 to 1 any way you want to count.
Right.
Okay?
I mean, that's...
So the newness, if you want to call it new, we haven't seen this before, right, exists in a whole lot of places. Before the break, when I was talking about the Go by the Inch show, we were the only ones to ever run a pure lead generation infomercial, infomercial in 15 years. We were it.
Right.
Okay. Everybody else is doing buy now, buy now, buy now, buy now. That's all you can do. So you don't have to be in Bulgaria for this to be new to people, was your point.
Right.
They may not have seen it much in whatever niche, whatever media, whatever product or service category you are marketing in. And if there is stiff competition, if you are in a competitive environment, this is a path to enormous competitive advantage.
Yeah, because again, we keep calling this a machine. I just made a note here. It is a machine. It is not a single, oh, I'm generating a lead and that's it. I'm driving traffic to my website.
No, nor is it, as you pointed out before the break, nor is it just, it is, but it's not just more teaching.
Right.
It is component parts of a machine. You are going to wind up, and it's like, it doesn't look like the George Foreman grill sitting on your counter, but I mean, you are going to wind up with assembling the right component parts for you and literally being able to turn the thing on and generate leads you were not generating before.
Yeah, like that, traffic. So let's go over, let me just go over what is actually in this, because there is a gigantic package here. So the first thing that we have here in this program is the Mailbox Millions. Now, Dan, this is the program that you put on, $3,000 seminar, sold out.
We had a room full. We had 300 some odd people.
Actually, it was more than a room full.
Yeah, it was more than a room full.
It was more than a room full. It was absolutely packed. Top online marketers there. Why? Because, by the way, if lead generation is throwing you off, traffic to your website, massive amount of traffic to your website that you're going to capture.
I will correct you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Correct me.
It is traffic.
Right.
But it's traffic that converts to leads.
Talk about that.
So my online friends love having the new metrics conversation.
Right.
That you can't measure quote, quote, new media with old metrics like money. Right?
So wait a minute, you can't measure...
No, you have to measure them with page views and friends and likes.
But not money in the bank.
Minutes on a page, but not money, right? Which Mickey Drexler, who runs J.Crew, which mails 40 million catalogs a year, Mickey's answer is to his online kids running his online media is that's fine as long as I can write new metrics on your checks. On your paychecks this week instead of my old metrics,
right.
And you'll take the paychecks that way,
right.
We can measure that way.
Right.
However, if you actually want dollars on your check, then we're going to measure by how many sweaters we sell.
Right.
Okay? So I happen to like Mickey. So there's a profound difference here. Traffic is like, it's really just eyeballs. It's like saying how many people saw my Super Bowl TV commercial. And we brag about how many saw our commercial. And it's great cocktail party chatter, but what matters is how much of that traffic converted to leads that we now have in our lead bank of future income that we can mature and develop and turn into customers, and of course how many turned into customers in the first place, ultimately calculating an ROI, a return on investment, like we just talked about. So the people who think, it's synonymous only to a point. So for them to understand, yes, but critical distinction, this is not just about traffic. This is about now how to convert traffic to leads that we can convert into money and know what we did.
Exactly. And so in here, there is example after example after example. There's literally millions of dollars, millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of things that have worked in direct mail. The postcard that you talked about in the last segment, what did you say, the gentleman was doing $200,000 a month with just sending out a single postcard. This shows you how to use direct mail, how to integrate it using online, offline, driving people online with offline marketing. It is absolutely phenomenal. This comes from a $3,000 seminar. You get this, you get all of the DVDs that come with it. You get the audio of it. Absolutely phenomenal.
Let me look at this thing while you're talking.
Take a look at that. And good.
Maybe I'll find something.
All right. And then up next we have the insider secrets. We've got this to online mastery. So in here, we took the best of online marketers. And we have in here something from Brittany Lynch. She teaches you how to use Google AdWords in a proper way. Brittany's a Google insider, teaches you, shows you specifically how to set up a campaign, get it working for you immediately. We've got Rich Sheffron teaching you one of his most powerful strategies. And the beauty of this is they're teaching you one thing only. Meaning all you got to do is you got to take it, they teach it in depth so you can go and you can implement it, you can start driving traffic, you can start driving leads, you can start making money. We've got Don Crowther on social media in here, and on and on and on and on. So this is also included. Dan, you have something to show?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So there's old and new, right?
Okay, right.
So here is, and I know it's not going to look, it's hard to see even here, but so I had that mark in a place. Okay. You stinker.
Kind of fell out.
So here is a 44-page direct mail booklet, one of the most unusual and productive booklets maybe of all time in direct mail. So that's old. Here's contemporary. So here's a campaign for a brick and mortar business. Right? It looks like this. It's all direct mail. So let me give you the ROI on this. This is for a music academy. This is drives one of the largest private music schools in the U.S. Okay. List criteria: 5-mile radius, children in the home, household income of $60,000 or more. This campaign, which is all shown here, was sent twice to 2,500 people. 17 new clients redeemed the offer. Okay, cost $2,500.
Right.
Profit after cost $8,500.
Wow.
ROI therefore 3 to 1, and repeatable.
Like clockwork. It's a machine.
Yeah. So that's the kind of samples that are in here. This is the famous Red Cooper grapefruit letter.
Yep.
There's a massive amount of lead
So
generation
why is that
campaigns.
important? That would, let me just ask you. So we got some folks who haven't heard of any of this stuff. Why is it important for them to look at stuff that was done in the past?
Well, because often what worked well when it was much more difficult to do works even better now that we have a lot more media choices. So that old booklet, for a person to respond to that, okay, this is pre-800 number. You couldn't call it 800 number and use a credit card. Didn't exist. Okay? You couldn't go online. Somebody had to fill out the form, take it, put it in an envelope, take it with them and put it in the mail. Lots of opportunity to talk yourself out of that. It's not like, oh, stimulated, run over here to the computer, pop up the website and respond. So folks like, that's Harvey, folks like Harvey had to perform under what people today would consider horribly adverse circumstances. Imagine if we took all their online media away and we took their telephone away and they had to do real mail order, right? So when you move the old, I always say there's gold in the old. When you move the old into new media, you often get even better results. There's also a continuity to this. There is a code to how you generate leads, how you create lead magnets. And there's a continuity to it over decades. And so it's important to understand the continuity to be able to do it well now. But no one should misunderstand. This thing is fat with current, contemporary examples for every kind of business. Niche info marketing, filling seminar seats, driving people to webinars, on and on and on.
So it is using direct mail, but it is not just about direct mail. I mean, that is the really, really important thing here. So like you said, webinars, driving people to teleseminars. You want to massively increase the amount of people that are going online, going to your website, opting into your list. This is what you're going to use. And then again, here though, we've got the complementary piece, which is the online. So where we're taking you and we're showing you strategies that you can take and use online to generate leads. So Dan, I think some people, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but some people have the impression that you're against online lead generation.
No, first of all, I'm against, for the most part, I am against being in either place exclusively. So I am against, with rare exceptions, being offline only, and I am against, with rare exceptions, being online only for a whole variety of reasons: vulnerability, sustainability, leverage of dollars spent, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm really against being in either place exclusively. My online bias, negative bias, is purely about personal use. I have no interest in using any of it personally, and I don't. That does not mean, however, that I don't have it used for me.
And you don't advise your clients.
To generate a great deal of money. And it doesn't mean that I don't work on it in client relationships and in coaching relationships in order to use it effectively as marketing media. Now, the other way people get that impression is I am very critical of new metrics. I am very
metrics that don't convert to money, that don't mean money.
I'm very critical of spending time, energy, and money in ways that we can't measure.
As well should all of our viewers.
And we can't hold accountable, and I insist that they should be too. Doesn't mean, however, I'm opposed to the media in any way, shape, or form.
And so that is all included in this lead generation machine. So then we've got, this is fantastic. We have the Ninja funnels. This is what our marketing director and I put together. This is what GKIC is using in our business. There are 5 different funnels that we explain in great detail, which integrate, just as you were saying, direct mail and online. It is what drives the GKIC publishing empire, millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. Now, not only do we teach you, but we're also going to give you, let's just start stacking all this stuff up here. We're also going to give you 5 maps. These are 5 vital blueprints that integrate online and offline lead generation along with all of the samples. So when we have a complete campaign, here it is right here. We've got all of this. So this really, quite frankly, this one manual, if you could get your hands on this, and the only way to get it is to click that button, which is right below this video right here, is this gives you, this is a swipe file. This is exactly what we use at GKIC currently to generate millions and millions and millions of dollars. You're welcome to take this. Now, you can't use it word for word, mind you. It is a swipe file, not a steal file, but you can take it and you can model your campaigns after this. Everything that you need is here. All you got to do is take and model that. In addition to that, we have a whole bunch of different things here. We're going to give you as a bonus my favorite all-time product. I still go to this, Dan. I've got zillions of copies of this, many iterations. This is the Magnetic Marketing System and Toolkit. This is a course that changed my life. This is the thing that helped me.
The noose is an interesting new graphic element. I haven't seen that, actually.
Do you like that?
I'm not sure about this. I have to think about it.
You're grabbing a hold of your prospect. Maybe that's what that is. I just noticed that as well. I just made that up on the spot. By
Interesting.
The way.
There you go.
I just made that up on the spot. But why is
nice
this?
Save.
Why? Thank you. Why is this important? Because this again. I mean, look at this thing. You want to generate leads. Let's say you're in a sales career. Bang! Complete campaigns written by Dan Kennedy. All you got to do is fill in the blank. About 80–90% of the work is done for you. You are in
plus samples of what people have done in real businesses.
In real businesses, exactly. How they modeled it, all right? And
retail.
On and on. Retail, exactly. Service businesses, professional services, business to business. Again, this is, by the way, this isn't just all direct mail at all. There is an online component to this as well. This is an integrated system for generating quality leads. To get this for free, we sell this for $497. All you have to do is become a member of the Ultimate Lead Generation Machine. I'll let you hold that for me. You're doing a fine job.
That's terrific.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah.
And then we've got...
If I had a dress and good legs, I could be on The Price is Right.
You could be. You could be. Okay, so here we have the most... I got to hide his name because he doesn't want his name known. The most amazing lead generation and top profit system ever invented. Dan, just talk a little bit about this without revealing his name.
I mean, this narrows down to
huge.
A really cool list trick, right? For lead generation of new customers. It also happens to be a trick that will work in marketing to existent leads and even to existing customers. But it's a really cool trick that adds a lot of leverage to any kind of direct marketing, with either offline or online, that boosts response to almost every campaign by a particular kind of list segmentation. Which is very cool.
And here
he's the brightest pencil in that box.
Right, and again, he really, we're not calling him Mr. X because
he just preferred not to be.
He preferred not to be on it. Right, so you'll find out who it is obviously when you get the Ultimate Lead Generation Machine. The secrets the U.S. Postal System does not want you to know. This is from the. We interviewed the mailing house that we use the most, and they gave us some great, phenomenal tips there. We have the Fast Start Installation CD. Now, this is really important. This is a CD that I put together for you, which teaches you what to do first, second, third, so you get the results as quickly as you can. Because we don't want you to just get this. We don't want it to be up on a shelf. We want you to use it. We want you to install the machine in your business. Then we have here, this is one of my favorite ones, but from Jerry Jones, how to use dirt cheap postcards to drive a ton of qualified leads online and offline. Again, this is in-depth, detailed information. So this is just an overview. This is step by step. Here's what you do first, here's what you do second, here's what you do third to get the results that you want.
Jerry is the master of that medium.
Jerry is the master of it.
And not just a teacher or a vendor, Jerry happens to own a dental practice.
Right.
Although he is not a dentist.
Right.
And this year they'll top $1 million in revenue.
Really?
In a relatively small market. Entirely driven by postcards and newsletters.
Right. And it's all explained here. These are DVDs. So you see the examples that he's showing. You can take them. You can model them so you can get the results as well. And then we have here Insider Secrets for Selecting Mail Lists That Can Make You Rich by our friend Craig Simpson. There is an art to choosing great mailing lists that'll get you results. Craig lays it out for you, so if you're wondering about it, you're nervous about it, after you watch this DVD, you'll be able to do it very, very easily. There's more to this. If you order right now, if you get this during this broadcast, you're also going to get the long lost Midas Touch series. This is, again, I have this on cassette. Does that mean it's outdated? No, it is completely...
It's classic.
It's classic. Is that what we're calling it? Classic. It is a classic, but the information on it is evergreen. We have Midas Touch Marketing, Midas Touch Direct Marketing, and Midas Touch Selling. In this is some of your best teaching on not only lead generation, but how to convert those leads into clients, customers, patients who will buy from you over and over again. We don't even sell this. The only way to get this, and you get it as a download instantly, all you got to do is click that order button now and get the ultimate lead generation machine. In addition to all of that, we have a ticket for you for the first 500. Sales are going crazy here, so it's even less than, I'm just going to go with this number because I'm not as good as the math as you, Dan. So we have less than probably 300 now. Okay, 300 Info Summit tickets, less than 200 Info Summit tickets left. So our Info Summit is coming up in Nashville in November. This is the who's who. It's the superheroes of information marketing. Dan's going to be doing a seminar inside a seminar teaching copywriting for information marketing. You're going to figure it out for me?
I'm going to figure it out.
Okay, you figure it out while we're putting Dan to work
Try
here. This
and
is
make myself
fantastic.
useful, huh?
We had you holding up stuff.
Let's
It's
see.
fantastic.
One, carry two.
So the total value of everything.
You're at
What do we have?
you're at 500 minus 304. You are at 6.
We should have a drum roll or something happening here.
6, 9. You're at 196 tickets remaining.
So we have 196 tickets remaining, and that's it. Because the problem is we have only allocated it because we have limited number of seats. So that is not an arbitrary thing.
Up, but it's close.
It's close. So in order to get your Info Summit ticket, you need to get this. You need to be one of the next 196 people. We may sell out before this broadcast is over. Now, the total investment without the Info Summit included, the total value of this is $5,447. However, when you get this before the deadline, you can get the entire package, the entire lead generation machine, all of the bonuses, including magnetic marketing, including the ticket to the Info Summit for just one investment of $1,997 or 3 payments of just $697. Now, Dan, and plus, don't forget, if you order during the broadcast, you get the complete Midas Touch Classic Library absolutely free. Once this broadcast is over, this goes away. If you already ordered before this broadcast, you will also be getting this as well. Dan, you know, somebody asked, hey, listen, I live in China, I live in Australia, I can't come to the Info Summit. What would you say about that?
Well, look, we don't have a flat Earth. The boat's not going to fall off the edge on their way over.
Right.
The sea monsters are not going to bite them. There are such things as airplanes. We have people at Info Summit every year and at Super Conference every year who come. You know, they spend 20 hours. The guys in Australia, for example, who I have great empathy, but you know, it's their fault they've chosen to locate the thing so far away from civilization. It's not ours. But, you know, look, once you get into this and see the value, you may very well decide it's not quite as insurmountable an obstacle as you thought, because you are going to want to be here. Secondly, though, if you can't take advantage of the bonus, so what?
So what?
I mean, you don't want to let that stop you from owning the machine.
Right.
And from being able to develop your own lead generation machine and turn it on in your business. There's also a rollover. If somebody can't come to the summit, they can choose to exercise their bonus to attend Super Conference next year.
Attend Super Conference. So
there is an option there.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, according to Dan's calculations, about 196 of those remain.
Yeah, and that's going away.
And it's going away. Yeah, it's going away very, very quickly. So either click that button that's right below the video and become a member. Get this program. Put it in your business. Imagine having all of the leads that you can handle, having a machine that you can turn up when you want it, turn down when you want it. You control the lead flow. Everything is included, everything that you need for both online and offline lead generation. There's nothing like it else out there. It is the only lead generation system that you're going to need. So get it now. Again, you can also get it by going to www.ultimateleadgenerationmachine.com. Now, Dan, there was a question here that came up, and we created a mess here.
That's all right.
All right? You like it?
That's fine.
Very good.
Okay. We got enough room.
Okay, so there was also a question here that came about direct mail. And so we're going to be talking a little bit more about direct mail. Let's see if we can have that question. This comes from, thank you for putting that phonetically for me, gentlemen. Kango? Kango.
I'm going to bet not from Idaho.
Okay. Kang is probably not from Idaho. But so Kango asks, what are the main key points to have in direct mail? I actually had a question that I didn't ask you. So what are the key elements to direct response lead generation? Whether it's direct mail or because really, quite frankly, it's basically the same.
Yeah, it is. So you've gone a little broader. I mean, I can do both.
Right.
I mean, so the main thing about direct response lead generation is the right magnet for the right audience. So the more you know about who you want to attract, the better you can craft that magnet to be compelling and appealing. So titles matter, bullet points about what's in it, what you're going to discover by coming to the webinar, watching the online video, getting the free report, getting the book. So the crafting of the magnet for message to market match to really connect with exactly who you want to draw to you. That's probably the most important thing. Then secondly is the whole process, right, that you wrap around it, because kind of like I said about traffic, the last thing you really want to do is successfully generate a lot of leads and not convert them to money. Right. I mean, again, we don't really, we don't send our kid to college with traffic statistics or with lead numbers. That's not what happens. Right. And so the funnels, the whole process now of in through a door comes a lead. Now, how do we develop that lead, build trust with that lead, right, create relationship with that lead, nurture that lead, move, what's the next step, what's the next step, what's the next step, what's the next step? So that's probably the second most important thing. And I would say that for most businesses, multimedia lead generation, then I would rank third, is getting liberated from one or two means of attracting leads and or customers, clients, and patients to you, to having a full portfolio of means of attracting leads and customers, clients, and patients.
I was just reading a report written by Frank Kern, and Frank was saying...
Frank Wright?
Frank actually...
Right?
Well,
wow.
Little known fact is that Frankie does a lot of offline marketing.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
A lot of offline marketing. Yeah. So, but one of the things that he was...
Another little known fact is he's often sober.
Completely, actually, completely. So one of the things he wrote was how he made the mistake, actually, of relying on one lead generation method, which was basically Google AdWords. And he had $1 million a year niche business, and he was happy. And then the Google slap came, and all of a sudden...
He's not the only one.
Right.
He's not the only one to have that exact experience, which now I'll loop all the way back to direct mail, and we'll answer, what was his name?
Kango.
Go, right. So we'll answer his question to play fair, right? So I'll loop all the way back, and so there's one of the cases. For the first case for mastering direct mail and making it part of your business within a lead generation machine is that still more goods and services are sold and more customers, clients, and patients are created by direct mail than all other media combined. Okay? There is, by the way, there's a collection of research-based factual data in Mailbox Millions that will astound many people about exactly how much of the economy and how much of different kinds of business is being driven by mail. The second case is that it is the least screwed with media of all media available to you. So a lot of media is very vulnerable, has your frank story, to Google slap, to you're actually putting people in front of 500 competitors that you didn't necessarily need to do. You're creating a very confusing environment. So if you take the generic equivalent of whatever business anybody's in and you go Google it, I mean, I think in annuities, it's 560,000 some odd references come
Results,
up,
wow.
including many with price comparison charts and lists, and so it's a big commoditizing. I mean, Eric Schmidt, who created Google, calls it a cesspool, and he's 1,000% right. All right, so it's very vulnerable to that problem. It's also vulnerable to Google deciding to change the algorithms and the rules whenever somebody has a brain fart in California. So that happens a lot, right? Broadcast media, very subject to seasonal price fluctuations, a news event taking everybody to CNN and now nobody's watching your commercials or your infomercials. Election year, you can't even buy time for 2 months. So almost every media you look at has great potential for disruption, if not destruction, to your business. The mail, and by the way, their economic problems are grossly exaggerated. They're not going anywhere. Right? The mail pretty much hasn't changed since they switched from ponies to trucks. They don't mess with you much. You can pretty much put whatever you want in an envelope. You can have any word you want in the headline and not have it classed as spam, not have Google telling you you can't use it. Right? And pretty much the same as in 1950. I can deliver a story to you and I can get you to respond. And so when people think about not just income but equity in a business, and they think about sustainability and security so that you can sleep at night.
Right.
You want multiple media, you don't want single media, you never want to be dependent on any one thing, including one method of generating leads or one method of getting customers. And your most secure position is if you have successfully incorporated the mailbox along with the computer and along with the television set and along with the radio.
Got it. Let's thank some folks here because, man, the people are just really embracing this, and you're smart to do so because really I can't think of anything else that you can do for your business that is more important than having a machine in place that brings you customers, clients, patients on a consistent basis. What else could you possibly be doing? So we've got, and I love to see, look at this, we've got folks from literally all over the world. We've got Tim L. from Sweden, Michael B. from a place called Florida. I don't know.
Well, that's nearly a foreign country.
That's nearly a foreign country now,
it's nearly a foreign country.
We have Igor S. from Moscow. Thank you so much, Igor. Lewis R. from Ireland. You know what's really neat, Dan, is this is something that you've talked about, and is that like places like India and Australia and Malaysia, they're really embracing this stuff. While it seems like there's almost a laziness that has set in.
Well, there is a certain sloth.
Okay, so talk about that a little bit.
And it really is what made a lot of people very vulnerable to the recession issue that hit different people 2008, 2009, is that they had gotten very, very lazy about marketing systems, about lead generation, about all these things in their businesses. And if they're very young, by comparison, they really have only seen boom up until 2008 and 2009 in their business lives. So, my frame of reference goes to Carter. It doesn't go to the Great Depression. I'm not that old, but it goes to Carter, right? Which, was the trifecta of bad economics. Double-digit unemployment, double-digit inflation, and double-digit interest rates all at the same time. So a different kind of mess than we've been experiencing, but a very detrimental mess. And so a lot of people really have they've had money kind of running uphill to them for a while, and all of a sudden they hit a wall in 2008 and 2009. And in many respects, the harm done to them by hitting the wall was at least 50% self-inflicted because of intellectual and actual sloth about having a holistic, a comprehensive approach to marketing. And there's still a certain amount of resistance to complexity, to doing the work here that does not exist in many of these other countries. They are going, yeah. Well, while a lot of people here are going, gee, that sounds complicated. Gee, that sounds like a lot of work. Gee, you know, and so you see, I mean, some inside baseball. If you look at GKIC over, say, the past decade, which we have history longer than that, you see an ever-growing percentage of active members, of ascending members, of members with profoundly significant success reports coming in. You see an ever-growing percentage from beyond our shores rather than in our shores. And so I'm never surprised, really, when you see a Moscow or you see a Sweden or you see, you know, whatever else was up there. And of course, the internet obviously has facilitated that to a great, you know, to a great extent. But there's no doubt that there are real searchers there. And per capita, there's less searchers here. Now, in total quantity, we still have more of them because, you know, this is a huge boat. But there's no doubt that people are grossly at fault for wanting a delusion.
Well, talk about wanting that delusion, because I think that's what, you know, because, you know, here we're showing that you're going to have integrated online and offline. We lay it out for you step by step to make it as simple as possible. But still, let's be honest. You're going to have to install the machine. You're going to have to turn the machine on. We've done everything we can other than come to your house and install the machine. But so
here's the thing. Ultimately, so the political angst of 1%, 99%, you know, that we are all hearing in this country. The folks in Sweden and Thailand are fortunately having to miss this debate for the most part. But in our presidential election now, this has become something that is now talked about, not just in a seminar room about how to be successful, but now talked about broadly. And it's talked about as if it was bad. You know, that there's 1% who are really, really rich, and there's 5% who are modestly rich, and then there's 95%, you know, who aren't. Right? This is largely behavioral. It is almost really entirely a matter of choices. Right? And so, you know, there was our current president did a little, you didn't build that business speech. And, you know, part of his argument was that you use the roads, right? And the roads were built for you by government. Right. And so your successful business is possible because you use the roads. And my answer to that is yes, but I use the roads to go to the library, while the other guy used the roads to go to the bowling alley and the tavern. Right? So, yeah, the government built the roads, but then we all made our choices. And so those percentages haven't changed with all of the lowering of barriers and technology and the onset of the internet. Those numbers haven't changed. And if you take all the money away from the 1% and you distribute it to the 99%, it'll all be back in the hands of the 1% in a very short period of time because it is behavioral. And one of the key behaviors, if you look at any highly successful person in any business, you will find that behaviorally, they are drawn to what others would consider complex and sophisticated approaches. So the guy who barely makes a living at his brick and mortar, at his restaurant or his whatever, he basically shows up. That's really what he does. So Woody Allen said, you know, 33% of success is showing up, and he's right. It's the other 66% that's the problem, right? And so low-end franchises like Subway, see, those are all built for the guy who just wants to show up.
Right.
So if you get that in a location that's okay, and they manage to prepare the food according to the little pictures on the wall and not poison everybody, that thing will make somebody about $30,000 a year, give or take. If a guy owns 3 of them, he'll make $90,000 a year. That, by the way, puts him in the top 5%. It's built for the guy who just shows up. So it's not that you can't do it. Right? You definitely, though, are not going to get to mid-6 figures or 7 figures by just showing up. Now the other 66% kicks in, and it's behavioral. So, like the person who looks at this and has the 99%er reaction, right, which is, oh, it's a lot. Right. Oh, how am I ever going to, well, an hour a day, believe me, you'll get through. You know, how am I ever going to, oh, it's complicated. Oh, multimedia. Oh, direct mail, it's expensive. Oh, if they have those 99% reactions, they're going to have the income and the wealth
That's the 99%.
Of the 99%. And they're going to have the angst and the insecurity and the
sleepless nights.
Because that show up thing, the flaw in that, if you own the 3 Subways, right, is when somebody opens the Jimmy John's across the street from you and divides the market in half. And you both are only showing up. That's the flaw in that ointment. So there's a reason why 1%ers are 1%ers. There's a reason why 5%ers are 5%ers. And there's a reason why 95%ers are 95%ers. And it's largely behavioral. And I find, like I told Cardell, and I'm candid about it, when I went and did his groups and spoke to his groups in the UK. See, I would rather really be in front of a group in the UK or a group in Canada than I would be in front of a group in the United States.
Why is that?
Because they are more serious students. They are more into it. Give it to me. Show me how to use it. Right? They are not present but not present. You know,
Sure.
They are not there with their gadgets. They're actually paying attention. And so I think this is really important. You know, the best machine in the world, put in the hands of the person who will not use it. First of all, it's pretty bulky to put under a pillow and sleep on.
Right.
You know, and secondly, that's not going to turn it into anything. And so somebody really who has that mindset ought not buy.
Yeah, don't get it. Right.
Ought not buy.
Yeah, because we really don't want you to get it.
Well, I've never wanted unearned money.
Right, right.
You haven't either.
Right.
You know, I've never wanted unearned money.
That's correct, absolutely.
I want money we earn by them getting real results and real value for their money spent.
Yeah, I remember sitting in the seminar 13 years ago watching you speak at one of the Peter Lowe Success events, and you were selling magnetic marketing. I think it was for $278.
Yeah, it was a much
smaller package.
It was a much less, smaller package and less complete than the current package.
And the story has a lot of lessons in it, and I didn't get it when you pitched it, and I thought I couldn't afford it, and I was so deep in debt. I was like $80,000 in debt. I'm like, God, I can't afford that. And I walked out knowing that this is what I needed to finally, you know, have the business and literally live the dream that I had. And then you sent me a letter in the mail. And I often tell this at seminars when we do a fast start boot camp for people. Geez, if you had sent me an email, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I probably wouldn't have lived my dream of being an entertainer and all of that. And I remember making that call for $278 and thinking, God, it's so much money. Then getting it and then implementing it. And then the next time you did a seminar and it was like, I don't know, $1,500 seminar.
By the way, the 278 was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
If you inflation adjusted it to today, it makes this even a bigger bargain.
That's right.
I mean, the 278 was actually a bigger bite for you.
Yeah.
Than the what is this
1997?
Then this is
or 3 payments. You can even break it apart into 3 payments.
Then this is for today's buyer.
Yeah, and every time I made that stretch when I joined your first coaching program and then joined the next coaching program, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. Every time I made that stretch, although I felt it inside me, I was nervous about it. When I made that stretch, and this may sound self-serving, but it's the absolute truth. My income grew. I grew. And so I just have to encourage you. I realize that 1997 could be a lot of money for you. And it is a lot of money. But what it can do for you if you take it and use it, if you're not going to use it, don't get it. But if this is something that you're going to take and you're going to use, we teach you how to do it step by step. It looks like a lot of stuff, but in the Fast Start installation CD, Dan, I take them through it step by step by step. Here's what to do first. Here's what to do second. Here's what to do third. All right? We have people who are using these systems. We use it at GKIC. All of our top members use this, are making, literally in some cases, millions and millions of dollars. You can do it. This is 100% guaranteed too, by the way. Get this. If you don't think it's for you, return it, and we'll give you your money back in 30 days.
Now let me answer his direct mail question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I looked it up.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. So the key elements in direct mail.
Excellent. So we're finally getting around to the answer.
Yeah,
to
we're
this
finally
question.
getting around to the answer
okay.
to the guy's question.
Right.
Okay, 50% is list, meaning who you get in front of, who you send your message to. Mm-hmm. So if you think, by the way, about your success event experience, mm-hmm. right? So the follow-up letter you got came to a highly qualified lead. Mm-hmm. So you already bought a ticket, mm-hmm. you got in your car, you went to a seminar, you stayed there 9 hours, okay, in an unpleasant environment on hard seats with long lines for the bathrooms because I'm the last speaker, mm-hmm. right? You almost bought, mm-hmm. right? So highly qualified lead. So that list, very, very valuable to me. Mm-hmm. By the way, no other speaker mm-hmm. mailed. I'm a generous soul. I showed everybody what I was doing. So anyway, 50% is the list, the who. Right? 25% now is the presentation, meaning copy plus format. Mm-hmm. And so all the copy elements mm-hmm. that make up a successful lead generation piece, a successful direct mail piece, which we will be talking about kind of in a fresh way at the Info Summit, mm-hmm. but obviously are completely included in Mailbox Millions.
All
which
of
is
these
part
elements
of,
are.
yeah, well, and this page is too, because
right.
I looked up in the
right.
manual, so I didn't mess it up mentally. 15% is the offer.
Okay.
What actually now you're asked to do
right.
and offered in exchange for doing it. 10% then are all other factors. Mm-hmm. So that's really the answer to his question.
That's the formula. So to get your ultimate lead generation machine, all you need to do, there's a big red button. All you need to do is click it, and we will ship this out to you. These are shipping immediately. They're ready to go. If you're one of the, I don't even know how many.
Where we are.
Where we are now, but there's less than 200, far less than 200 Info Summit bonus tickets available. And if you can't make it to Info Summit, you can exchange that for a super conference ticket for next year. So again, click that button or go to ultimateleadgenerationmachine.com. We're going to take a brief break, and then we'll be back with more of your questions and more questions for Dan Kennedy. So we'll see you soon. So.
At the appliance doctors. When I was first introduced